traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good morning and welcome to BCIT's The Crow. I'm your host, Alyssa Gusano, and here are your news headlines to 10:30. Israeli strikes have killed more than 270 Lebanese and wounded more than 1,000 others in the deadliest and most intense barrage since the 2006 Israel-Hezbollah war. The strikes happened Monday as the Israeli military warned residents in southern and eastern Lebanon to evacuate their homes ahead of a widening war air campaign against Hezbollah. Thousands of Lebanese fled the south, and the main highway out of the southern port city of Sidon was jammed with cars heading towards Beirut in the biggest exodus since the 2006 conflict. The Israeli military announced that it hit some 300 targets, saying it was going after Hezbollah weapon sites. The Lebanese government has ordered schools to close and is preparing shelters for displaced people.
The solution, we all know, is political, is diplomatic, and certainly the Special Coordinator of the United Nations here is pushing very much in that direction. But as we see day after day, the situation is very difficult for civilians.
With more headlines, here's producer Nicholas Elka.
Coming later today, provincial election season is underway in our province. What our Prime Minister had to say at the United Nations General Assembly. Also, how an increased demand in non-alcoholic beverages are affecting liquor sales. And how a North Van resident has found some much-needed stress relief. Back to you, Alessio.
Thank you, Nick. BC's election season is officially underway. Signs are out in public and candidates are making announcements prior to Election Day. BC NDP leader and Premier David Eby has promised 300,000 middle-class homes over the next decade if he is re-elected. BC Conservative leader Jean Rustad has launched his own campaign promising downing taxes relating to contend with a warming planet. The 79th meeting of the United Nations General Assembly and the Summit of the Future continues today. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is set to meet with the acting Prime Minister of Haiti, focusing on ongoing crises in Haiti. Prime Minister Trudeau urged fellow leaders to put their differences aside at this time where the world faces increasing instability.
All of us gathered here have an opportunity to hold true to that mission, to fulfill the promise of our Pact for the Future to deliver fairness for every generation.
The Grain Workers Union Local 333, the representatives of grain workers in Metro Vancouver, has announced a workers' strike starting Tuesday. Decision was made following the Vancouver Terminal Elevator Association's, quote, very little effort, end quote, during negotiations last week, with it being up to the employer to present a new contract proposal. Sean Diddy Combs' vast music catalog has jumped in streams since his arrest and the unsealing of an indictment against him. Data and analytics company Illuminate said the disgraced music mogul saw an average 18.3% increase in on-demand streams during the week of his arrest compared to the prior week. Popular German festival Oktoberfest kicked off this weekend. The annual event, held in Munich, known for its beer and folk festivals, will run for 2 weeks, ending on the first Sunday in October. This year, alcohol-free beer is taking the festival by storm, with all but 2 of the 18 large tents offering the alcohol-free option. Now on to the weather. In Burnaby and across Metro Vancouver, it is heavily raining and cloudy with a temperature of 14 degrees. Those were your 10:30 news headlines. I'm Alessio Cusano, and you're watching BCIT's The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good morning, I'm Lauren Achille, and this is your latest sports update to 10:40. BC Lions' Nathan Rourke will remain the starting quarterback for the team. He was benched at halftime of the team's 33-17 loss to the Toronto Argonauts in Week 15 after completing half of his passes, rushing for a 9-yard touchdown. He also sustained a knee injury in Week 9 while playing against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Lions sit second in the West Division with a 7-7 run behind the Blue Bombers with 4 games remaining on schedule. Last night, Geno Smith threw a 289 yards and Zach Charbonnet rushed for 2 touchdowns to help the Seattle Seahawks beat the Miami Dolphins 24-3. Here's the call as Charbonnet rushes in for a 4-yard touchdown.
First and goal to 4. Handoff Charbonnet behind the left side. Powers through into the end zone. Touchdown Seattle. Zach Charbonnet, a 4-yard touchdown run for the Seahawks.
Meanwhile, the Dolphins suffered an injury of one of their players during that game, resulting in exiting the field. Patrick Mahomes threw a pair of touchdown passes, and Kansas City's defense made a couple of late stands to keep the Chiefs unbeaten with a 22-17 victory over the Atlanta Falcons. Here's the call as Mahomes completes a 13-yard pass to Juju Smith-Schuster, who would make the touchdown.
Mahomes in the pocket, throws it left, caught Juju Smith-Schuster, angling left, fire, diving, touchdown! Kansas City, welcome back to the Chiefs' kingdom in the end zone. Juju Smith-Schuster.
Sam Darnold matched his career high with 4 touchdown passes as the undefeated Minnesota Vikings beat the Houston Texans 34-7. Here's this call as Justin Jefferson drives in a 6-yard touchdown pass from Darnold in the first quarter.
Now the pocket breaks down. Darnold scrambling to his left, throwing end zone, caught, touchdown! Justin Jefferson, and he spins the ball in celebration. What a start for Minnesota.
In tennis, Montreal's Felix Auger-Aliassime will lead the Canadian team into the Davis Cup Final 8. He will be joined once again by Denis Shapovalov from Ontario and Vasek Popisil from Vernon, BC. The Davis Cup will be held in Malaga, Spain on November 19th to the 24th. In basketball, Connecticut Sun's Alyssa Thomas had the 15th triple-double of her career to spoil Caitlin Clark's playoff debut for the Indiana Fever. The Suns beat the Indiana Fever 93-69 last night in Game 1 of their best-of-3 series. Thomas finished with 12 points, 13 assists, and 10 rebounds, while Clark finished the game with 11 points and 8 assists. Game 2 is Wednesday night in Connecticut with a potential tie-breaking game on Friday. In baseball news, the Chicago White Sox have scored a record that no team particularly wants. Dave Ferry of the Associated Press has more.
It's a record no one wanted to tie, but the White Sox did it with 6 games to spare. The Sox picked up their 120th loss of the season, tying the 1962 Mets for the most in modern baseball history. Manager Grady Sizemore's team did it in typical fashion, blowing a 2-1 lead late in the 8th inning and losing to the Padres 4-2.
We were in a good spot. Took the lead into the 8th. They got the big hits when they needed them. I think, again, just a couple doubles to start off the inning and some big hits. But, again, I thought we played pretty good overall.
The White Sox have to sweep their final 6 games to avoid breaking the loss record. What's next for Sizemore's ball club?
It's not something we're focused on. I think, probably everyone outside of this clubhouse will be more obsessed with it than us. We're just going to put this one behind us and get ready for the next series back home.
I'm Dave Ferry.
Milwaukee Brewers scored 4 times in the 8th inning, resulting in a win over Arizona. This has been your sports update to 1010. I'm Lauren Achille, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.